Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Hatha practice. Before we get started, a few props that will be handy for today. I suggest having a soft block, maybe a couple hard blocks, and you can get started in any comfortable seat, or if you want to lie down, I'm going to start in a reclined butterfly shape. So if you want to join me there, you might bring your hard blocks with you halfway up the mat, and you can come to lie down on the back. Take your time to get comfortable. If you need to add any extra padding or cushions or anything like that, you can use your soft block as a pillow or anything else you have around. And don't worry too much about the distance between the feet and the hips. You can land wherever you landed, or if you want to adjust, bring them a little closer, further away, then go for it. You can also use your hard blocks to support the legs. This might help the inner groin muscles soften a little further. And then see where you want the arms. You can have them by the sides or on the body. You could take them to the floor overhead if you like. Just choose something that feels steady and comfortable. And there's no rush to find your stillness as well. If something feels a little fidgety, or if you're not quite ready to settle and you need a little movement first, then feel free to find that. And then when you are ready to start to quiet down the body, if it feels okay to close down the eyes, go for it. Otherwise, find a soft gaze. And if at any point the shape that you've chosen feels a little uncomfortable, know that you can change that at any point. Otherwise, as you can, come and find your stillness. As you quiet down the body, you start to quiet down the mind as well. And perhaps as a new thought comes into your head, you can notice it and let it go. And gently invite the breath to deepen here. With each inhale breath, exploring a sense of space in the body. And with each exhale, grounding, softening. If you're in a seat, you can come to lie down on your back. And if you're with me in butterfly, you can reach down and guide the knees a little closer together. Maybe you take the feet a little wider apart. You can either rest the knees in together for a counter stretch, or if you'd like, straight away, you can start to windshield wiper the knees side to side. If you notice anything sticky, maybe pause, breathe into it for a couple breaths. Awesome. As you feel ready, come back to center and walk the feet in a little closer, and then we'll lift the left leg and cross the left ankle on top of the right knee. And you can stay right here for thread of the needle, or maybe you want to reach through, you can catch hold of the hamstring, maybe of the right shin. It's still early in practice, so don't worry if it's not a very deep expression of the shape. And check in with that left knee for a moment, see if it needs a little extra support. Sometimes flexing the left foot can help stabilize the left knee. You could also put a little pressure with your left elbow to the inside of the left thigh, and that might make the stretch feel a little bit different. And you can choose stillness here. You can also take a gentle rock side to side and breathe into your shape. You can keep the left ankle crossed, but lower the right foot down to the floor. And now keeping this shape with the legs, scoot the hips over to the left a little bit, and then let that right foot come down and step on the floor. So kind of a half twist here. If this doesn't feel good for you, feel free to adjust it and see what it feels like to energetically encourage that left knee a little further away from you. You might deepen the stretch through that outer left hip. Arms can be at a T shape. If you like to take the gaze down towards the left, then go for it. And take a few deep breaths here. Awesome. You can bring the head back to center and then gently unravel the legs as well. Let's scoot the hips back to midline, and then we'll take the right ankle and cross it just above the left knee. This side may feel a little different, so you might stay here. You can reach through once again. Make sure that that right knee feels stable for you. Make sure everything else is happy. And then any modifications you want to add, then go for it. Choose stillness or movement. Gently release, let that left foot lower, and then scoot the hips over to the right. Slowly find that half twist, lowering the right foot to stand on the floor. And the side might feel different, so again, you can modify. You could brace the right knee with the left hand or encourage that right knee a little further away. Maybe arms to a T, maybe gaze down towards the right. And bringing the head back to center and slowly unraveling the body. Awesome. From here, we're going to start to rock up and down the spine, and then eventually we'll meet in boat pose. So if you'd rather roll to one side and then make your way up to a seat first, then you might do that. If you're rolling with me, then it might take a few tries to try to land in boat pose, but don't worry about it there as well. You can always come up to a seat. I'm going to bring the knees into the chest, wrap the arms around the shins, and then start to rock up and down the length of the spine. And do this a few times, massage out the back, mindful of the neck, that you're not putting pressure on it. And when you're ready, build up a little momentum, see if you can come up and land. And the feet can touch down at any point. You can alternate lifting the legs or have the shins parallel, maybe beyond. And then check in here. Take a moment to really anchor the tailbone to the floor, lengthen the spine, find some space for the chest. Hands can be to the legs or they can float. Maybe you want to close down the eyes here. And take a few deep breaths. And even here with your inhales, see if you can find that sense of space. With your exhales, anything you don't need, let it soften a little bit. Last couple of deep breaths. All right, hands to the knees, feet to the floor, and see what you need here. Maybe a little windshield wiper side to side, or maybe something else. You can always round over the legs as well. Awesome, and then when you're ready, swing the legs around and we'll come to a tabletop position. And set the hands up roughly underneath the shoulders, knees roughly underneath the hips, and then you might even walk the knees just back a little bit here. And with an inhale breath, shoot the left hip out towards the left, and then start to circle it towards the heels as you exhale. Inhale breath now towards the right as you circle forward, and then exhale breath to the left as you circle back. Drawing some big circles with the hips. Move with your breath at your pace. You can speed it up or slow it down. You can also pause anywhere along the way. As you get used to the movement, if you want to exaggerate it anyway, you're welcome to do that as well. Maybe closing down the eyes as well when you're ready. The next time you inhale, come forward, take a brief pause, and with your exhale, shoot the right hip towards the right, and then circle back, and keep going this direction. It might feel a little different than the first. If you need to modify in any way, then go for it. Otherwise, moving with your breath. The last couple circles. And the next time you exhale and the hips come towards the heels, pause and we'll find child's pose. So if you need to readjust the legs or the knees a little bit, then go for it. Arms can stay extended or be somewhere else. Maybe a prop for the forehead if the head is floating. The stillness here, maybe a gentle rock side to side. And reaching your arms as far forward as you can, pull the body through to come lying down on the belly. You might take the hands a little bit wider apart. You can have the hands flat or be up on fingertips. Inhale, breath, peel the chest up for a strange cobra, and then dip the right shoulder, check your left shoulder as you exhale. Inhale, breath to center, and second side. And we'll do 3 more each side with your breath. Last one each side. Inhale, lift up, and soften. Hands under the shoulders, inhale to a tabletop position, and then tuck the toes, lift the knees, and we'll come to downward facing dog. And take a few breaths to set up your down dog. It might feel nice to stretch out the calves a little bit, maybe pedal the heels, sway the hips. You can pulse forward and back or any other movement. And check in, make sure the hands are actively pressing the floor away. Find some stability for the shoulders, some steadiness. And then when you're ready, come and find your stillness in your down dog. You might keep a bend to the knees here, encourage that heavy feeling through the spine, let the head hang heavy. And from your downward facing dog, take a deep inhale through the nose and a deep sigh out the mouth. Again, like that, deep inhale and sigh. Once more. And then inhale, bend your knees, look forward. With your exhale, walk the feet towards the hands, find your forward fold. A halfway lift, lengthen with an inhale, and sigh. And twice more. Last one. Inhale, halfway lift. And pause with the exhale. Stay, inhale, lengthen, tailbone to crown. Stay, exhale, tone the belly. And then with a flat back, inhale, come all the way up to stand, reach the arms up towards the ceiling. If you're at all lightheaded, pause here with the arms up, or you can come halfway down again. And then whenever you feel ready to, you can release your arms down to your sides and come and find your mountain pose. And take a moment to set up the feet, whatever distance between them feels the most comfortable. Lift and spread the toes, lower them with a little distance. And then a slight rock front and back. Find that balance of weight between the ball of each foot and between the heel. Imagine you're gently pressing the feet into the floor, and then you're rebounding the spine upwards, the crown of the head reaching towards the ceiling, the chin gently tucked in towards the throat. Imagine some distance, shoulder to shoulder, both in front of the body and behind. And some softness to the arms. Let them land wherever feels the most natural. If it feels okay to close down the eyes, then go for it. And then find your breath here. Only when you feel ready, wiggle the fingers and the toes and give the head a rock side to side. Awesome. Bringing the head back to center. Flutter the eyes open if they're closed. We're going to set up a balance shape. So if you're practicing in the middle of the room, you might choose to have a chair or something nearby in case you want to be able to hold on to it. We'll start by grinding the left foot down to the floor, and then we'll cross the right ankle just above the left knee. If for any reason this shape doesn't work for you, then you can also cross ankle to ankle instead, and then it might be easier to balance with that one as well. And then from here, imagine almost like a chair pose, so start to bend into that left knee, stick the bum back in space, and then check in to see what happens. It's similar to that thread the needle pose that we did on the back to begin with. So imagine that similar shape. See if you can find a little more stability for the right knee. Maybe it's by flexing the left foot. Notice if one side is further back than the other. See what you can do to even that out. And then if you're rounding over the chest, see if you can find just a little bit of height and space. Maybe hands into prayer. Sometimes in balance poses, there's a tendency to hold the breath. So if you find that happening, see if you can deepen it just a little bit. Last couple deep breaths. Maybe even a little more depth if you have space. All right, inhale breath, come all the way out, bring the right knee with you, and then step the right foot all the way to the back of the mat. We'll spin the right foot out a little bit, and then extend the left leg, start to bend into the right knee, and we'll come and find a side lunge to the side, so hands can come down. You might need to lengthen your base a little here. For some people, the right heel will need to lift up, or if you want to place it on a block, you can do that as well. Hands can stay down the whole time. Hands can be in prayer, more challenge, or anything like that. Make sure you're still breathing. And then check in here, even here. If there's anything that can soften a little bit that you don't need, then go for it. All right, hands to the floor. Slowly crawl yourself into a lunge facing the front of the room, and then drop that back knee down to the floor. And take a moment to find your balance here. If you want to keep the back knee lifted, you can, or if you want to pad it, then go for that. And then come on up when you feel ready. Take a moment to find your balance. If you need to widen your base a little bit, maybe taking the left foot to the left, you can do that. Inhale, breath, reach the arms high. And exhale, twist to the left, bring the arms to a T. Inhale, reach. And then same side, twist. 3 more. Last one, and we'll pause. As you exhale, twist left, and now pause here. Take a deep inhale. Stay, exhale. Once more. And then inhale, reach up. And exhale, bring the fingertips to the floor or find your blocks. Setting for half splits here. Take a deep inhale, lengthen the front body. And as you exhale, send the hips back and extend the front leg towards straight. Sometimes lengthening the base can help a little bit. I like to try and keep that right knee roughly beneath the right hip. And then give yourself a little more height if you're using blocks. So from a more upright position, it might help to flex the left foot a little bit. See if that helps you find some stability. And take a deep inhale. And as you exhale, fold any amount. Inhale, come up. And exhale, pulse down. And keep going with your breath. If you'd rather be in stillness, then choose that. The next time you fold, we'll pause for 2 deep breaths. And then with your subsequent inhale, come on up. You can rebend the left knee here. Again, you might shorten your base now and plant the hands to the floor and step back to downward facing dog. And with an inhale, shift forward to plank pose, top of a push-up. With your exhale, lower down to the belly. 3 baby cobras. Inhale, lift. And exhale, soften. And twice more. Inhale to tabletop, and then choose with your exhale downward facing dog or child's pose for 8 breaths. If your body's craving movement, you're always welcome to flow or cat-cow instead. Otherwise, finding your shape and your breath. If you're in down dog or child's pose, making your way to tabletop position as you feel ready. And then take a moment to set yourself, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And from here, we'll play with some leg lifts out to the side. So your choice if you want to do that with a bent knee, or if you'd rather try it with extended leg, then extend your leg out towards the right. We'll start with the right foot. And then from here, you can play with lifting like that. So that's going to be a lot more intense than if the knee is bent. So see what works best for you, and you can always switch halfway through. And we'll do 5 rounds with your breath. So inhale to lift, and exhale to lower. Last couple. Awesome. So touch it down. And if you did the expression with a bent knee, come and join me here. So take your right foot all the way out towards the right. And now see what it feels like to take the left knee a little wider apart. And imagine you're going towards a child's pose, but with the right leg extended out towards the side. So start to take the hips back towards the heels, and then see what it feels like to dip the torso in. You can use props for extra support here, and you can even see what you need to do. So if you have to have the toes pointing up or down, if there's something that works better than something else, then feel free to experiment. All right, slowly lifting yourself back up. You can walk the hands out in front. You can fold that right leg back in. And then we'll come to a 3-legged dog. So down dog first, tuck the toes, lift the knees, and stabilize. And when you're ready, right leg can lift in the air. And then bend the knee and stack the hips. So right hip stacked on top of left. Notice if that makes the left shoulder dip down. See if you can press the left hand a little more firmly so that the shoulders are relatively even side to side. And then maybe some circles with the lifted leg. You can bend and extend or do anything else here. Take a few breaths. Awesome. We'll take it to pigeon pose. So square the hips, take an inhale, lift the right foot a little higher. With your exhale, guide the right knee just behind the right wrist, and take the right foot over to the left any amount. Dipping the left knee to the floor, you can scoot it back in space a little bit. And then see if you need some extra props here to support yourself, maybe something underneath that right hip. Find an angle with that right shin that works so it can be more parallel to the top edge or to the long edge, and then either pointing or flexing the foot to help stabilize the knee. And check in here. Make sure that everything feels supported and happy with your shape. And when you're ready, you might choose to fold over the front leg. So maybe a block nearby to support the forehead. And take that scan through the body. Make sure it feels like a pain-free expression. And if you need to modify in any way, then please do. All right, slowly start to walk the hands back in, lifting up the torso. Then you can tuck the back toes and walk that left foot a little closer. And then see where you want to exit to. You can come back to a three-legged dog, or this time come through to a three-legged tabletop instead. And then take a few circles with that right leg, move it out any way you need to. And then when things feel ready from here, you can step the right foot between the hands and then the left foot and come and find your forward fold. You can give yourself as much of a bend to the knees as you need here. You can have the hands to the legs, to the floor, to props. Find your expression. And don't worry too much about how it looks like. Just make sure that the body feels stable within it. A little movement or stillness. And taking the hands maybe to the legs with an inhale breath, come and find a halfway lift. And then sigh as you fold. And again. One last one. Inhale, halfway lift. And pause here with your exhale. And take an inhale, lengthen heels to tailbone. Exhale, stay. One more inhale, lengthen tailbone to crown. Stay, exhale. And then strong belly, flat back, come all the way up. Circle the arms. Arms can stay up as long as you need. And when you're ready, you release them to your sides and come and find your mountain pose. And take a moment to set up from the feet to the head, anything along the way. Find your breath here, check in with the body. And then only when you feel ready to, wiggle the fingers and the toes and give the head a gentle rock side to side. Awesome. And then flutter open the eyes and we'll come to set up our balance shape. So take a moment to check in. If you need to adjust something in your space, then go for it. And right foot grounds to the floor and lift the left ankle just above the right knee. And then check in here. Again, you can cross ankle to ankle if that's better. Maybe you're flexing the foot. And then as you feel ready, send the bum back in space. Start to bend into that right knee. It might help to have a gaze point, something to help keep you steady. Make sure you're still breathing. Maybe hands into prayer. Find a little bit of room across the chest. A little heaviness through the hips. Last couple of deep breaths. All right, inhale breath, come on up, bring the left knee with you, and then take a big step back with the left foot. If your blocks are near the top, bring one with you in case you need it. Sending the left foot out towards the left, extending the right foot towards straight, and then slowly lowering the hips to the floor. If you need to adjust your stance or your base at all, then go for it. Hands can be down or to prayer, they can float. Find your breath here. Last couple of deep breaths. And then bring the hands down, lift the hips up, and then slowly crawl yourself into a lunge facing the front. Lowering the back knee to the floor, maybe you're padding it. You can also keep the back knee lifted. And find your balance. When you're ready, come on up. Reaching the arms up towards the ceiling, take a deep inhale, and then twist towards the right. Inhale, reach, and exhale, twist. 3 more. Last one, and then we'll pause. And so as you exhale, come into your twist, and then pause here. And with an inhale, see if you can breathe a little more distance from hand to hand, and then soften the shrug muscles. One more deep inhale, and exhale. Inhale, reach all the way up, and bring the hands down to the floor or to your props. We'll set up for a half split here, so maybe lengthening your base straight away, and take an inhale, lengthen the front body. And with your exhale, take the hips back and extending the front leg. And then walk the hands in a little closer, maybe a higher setting for your blocks so that you can be mostly upright. And mirror whatever you did on the first side. So if you're coming with me to pulse, inhale, lift the heart. And exhale, melt it back down. And keep going with your breath, your range of motion. Your next exhale, we'll pause in the fold, take 2 deep breaths. All right, inhale, breath, lift up. You can rebend the right knee and bring the hands to the floor and step to downward facing dog. And then from your down dog, come forward to plank pose with an inhale and lower down to the belly. We'll take 3 baby cobras, option this time to float the hands or just be on fingertips. Press the toenails down, inhale to lift, and exhale to lower. And twice more. And then hands under the shoulders, inhale tabletop, and choose child's pose or downward facing dog. Stillness or movement. Find your breath and your stillness. Check in with the body and check in with your head space. Be wherever you need to be. Wherever you are, come to find your tabletop position as you feel ready. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, and we'll do the leg lifts out towards the left this time. So choose if you're going to work with an extended leg or with a bent knee. And when you're ready, inhale, breath, lift the left leg out towards the left, any amount. With your exhale, lower it down. And then 4 more, nice and slow. Last 2. Last 1. And touching the foot down. If you were working with a bent knee, then extend the left leg out towards the left, and then scoot the right knee a little further to the right. Now go nice and slow. Start to bring the hips towards the heels, and start to melt the chest towards the floor. Let's see what this side needs, if it needs to be a little bit adjusted. If you need to bring the left leg a little further back or up, or point the foot towards the ceiling or something like that, then go for it. Awesome. You can slowly make your way back up. You can fold the left leg in. And then see if you need anything here, then go for it. Otherwise, come to your 3-legged dog with the left leg in the air. So down dog, make sure you feel stable. And then left leg up, maybe some circles, bend and extend, be wherever you need to be. And mindful of that right shoulder that it's not taking all the weight. And we'll set up for pigeon. So when you're ready, square the hips, take an inhale, lift the left leg. As you exhale, guide the left knee just behind the left wrist, left foot out towards the right. Lowering the right knee and then slowly guiding that right knee a little further back. And again, check in here, maybe a prop for the left hip. Maybe you need something else. And maybe the pose felt good on one side and not this side. So if you need to modify or take an alternative, then go for it. When you're ready, if you're coming with me, you can start to melt the chest down towards the floor, maybe keeping a prop nearby for the forehead. And come and find your stillness as you're ready. Awesome. And slowly start to walk the hands back in and start to bring that right leg a little closer. Three-legged dog or three-legged tabletop, and find the release that you need for this side. And then bring the knees to the floor. Come and find your child's pose. Hips towards the heels, chest down. Adding in any props that you need, any arm expression that you like here. As you feel ready to, extending the arms out towards the top of the mat, pull the body through to come down onto the belly. We'll set up for Sphinx pose, so you can walk the elbows roughly underneath the shoulders, a little further forward if you want a slightly softer expression. Hands can be to the floor, or you can have the hands together. And take a moment to settle the hips in here. If you need to add some support for the pelvis, maybe a blanket or something like that for some extra cushioning, then go for it. And let the legs be soft here. Let the heels flop wherever they want. Maybe a slightly lifted gaze, or you can keep the neck neutral. You can let the head hang heavy if that feels better. And perhaps closing down the eyes. And be with your breath. Slowly melt the chest back down towards the floor. You can stack the forehead onto the palms and then slide the left knee out towards the left. You can bring it as high as feels comfortable and choose this if it feels like a nice release for the low back. And then re-extend the left leg and switch over towards the right. And re-extending the right leg as well. And then any way you like, flip yourself on to your back. Making sure you have your props nearby just in case you need them. I would suggest having a hard block on either side of the mat. We'll set up for a twist here. Awesome. So maybe extending the right leg long down the mat, scoot the hips over towards the left, and then guide that right knee across the body. And you might bring the knee to land onto your prop or wherever else feels comfortable. And if doing a two-knee twist feels better for you today, then feel free to choose that. So you can stay right here. If you want one more stretch within this twist, then you can reach down maybe to catch hold of the right foot with your left hand. Find some heaviness for the shoulders. If you want to take the gaze down to the opposite direction of the knees, then go for it. And you can bring the head back to center and slowly unravel the legs as well. Scoot the hips to midline, then over towards the right. Left leg can be extended. And then start to guide that right knee across the body and down towards the left, maybe to land on a prop. And if you did so on the first side, maybe bending that right knee or left knee to catch it with the right hand. Maybe the gaze down towards the right. Gently bring the head to center, release the left foot, and then unravel the right leg. Scoot the hips to midline. See what feels good here. Maybe a windshield wiper to release. If you'd like to bring the knees to the chest and roll side to side a little bit, go for that. A happy baby or some circles. Take the next 5 or 6 breaths and release any way you need. And when you're ready, our next shape will be Shavasana. So see where you want to rest from for today. Maybe a nice symmetrical pose on your back. If you'd rather be in a seated meditation or anywhere like that, then go for it. Child's pose can also be a good place to rest. Just take your time to set yourself up. Find the most comfortable shape you can think of and use any of your props for support. And take a moment to release your breath back to its natural inhale and exhale. And take a moment to check in, take that scan through the body, release anything you don't need. And check in with your headspace. See if you can keep your attention to your body, to your breath. And if there are any other thoughts, you can notice them and let them go. Find your rest. And gently deepen the breath to reawaken the body. And when you feel ready to, find some small movements, maybe wiggling the fingers and the toes. You can give the head a rock side to side. It might feel nice to take a full body stretch. So if you like, you can reach the arms up overhead, maybe point the toes and find a full stretch. wiggling the shoulders, the hips. And then you might take the knees into the chest and give yourself a hug and a squeeze, maybe a rock side to side. And then wherever you are, any way you like, start to make your way up to a seat. And taking rest along the way as needed. And eventually coming to find any comfortable seated position using any of your props for support. And take a moment to settle the hips into the floor, to lengthen the spine, soften the shoulders, soften the chin towards the throat. Maybe hands meet in front of the heart. And take these last few moments of your practice just to check in with yourself. And just to notice. Thank you for sharing your breath and your practice today. Namaste. And thank you for joining me for your yoga practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your week.